let's get into last night's game. That 2-point conversion going forward. I mean, Anthony Lynn, that was a brilliant decision because if you lose, you're still the 5 seed. If you win, man, you've got a great shot at being a 1 seed right there on the spot.
And that's the key. I think the pros outweighed the cons.
They did.
So it was an easy choice. Now what they were doing, talking about the Kansas City Chiefs secondary, I have no idea.
What was happening?
I mean, they just had stacked. They stacked it to the right, what we call closet, because they were in close.
Right. So
they had 2 receivers to the right hand side, and they just ran opposite routes. And then now, I think it's sensible. I think he was saying we're going to play in and out, what we call banjo, and the receivers went in.
The defenders.
And then the receivers just switched positions. One ran inside, one ran outside, and both of the defenders went inside. And that's what happens, though, when you get lack of communication pre-snap. They don't know what you're doing, and both guys stays on a guy. There wasn't a guy 5 yards around him.
And it didn't look, I know, Brockman, you thought it was a pick play. I mean,
it wasn't a pick.
So it didn't even.
It wasn't like the natural pick, because, when you come into the new rule in the league is that you can block 1 yard down the field.
Right.
And now when you're on the 1 yard line or on the 3 yard line, you can block on at least the 1 or the 2-ish, get away with it. You can really pick that guy. They didn't even do that. They just ran a route.
Well, we just had your fellow Hall of Famer, LaDainian Tomlinson, fellow first ballot Hall of Famer, LT, on the show, and he says without Eric Berry, this defense is as pedestrian as it has been all year long, and that's going to be their problem moving forward.
Eric wouldn't have been there covering, though.
Right.
Those are 2 corners. This is a nickel in the corner covering. Now, Eric did make some plays, though. When he played in the first half, Eric was flying around to the ball. He made some tackles for losses. He did get some of the guys in position. He's a tremendous player. And when he's not in there, when you don't have a leader, I know Houston's up front, but when you don't have a leader on the back end, you don't make a lot of plays. And we've seen that throughout the whole year with this football team. Offensively, they're exciting. They put up a lot of points. They were even running the ball last night. And defensively, they were 32nd in the league for a reason.
I know Chiefs fans are sitting there saying, oh, here we go again. Great start to a regular season, mediocre finish, and then trapdoor opens in the playoffs. Or Mahomes is just such a game changer. He's going to be the difference maker. Which one do you believe, Rod?
Well, when you have to, and go back to them playing Baltimore 2 weeks ago, it's 4th and 17. He has to roll out to his right-hand side, throw the ball back across the field in the middle of the field, which you should never do.
I know.
And he's been doing it all year, and he's getting away with it. And then Tyreek Hill comes in out of nowhere and catches the ball. When you got to convert plays like that on a consistent basis, week after week, to win, that's not sustainable. It's just not. I mean, it looks great, and we have fun with it, but over the course of the year, and especially in the playoffs, your weaknesses come to the forefront in the playoffs.
Well, you could also say it's not sustainable to keep coming down from double digits on the road, like Phillip Rivers just did in Pittsburgh, down 16, and then last night down 14 3 different times. I mean, that's not sustainable either.
Yeah, I mean, when people talk about, even though they are saying the most balanced team in the league right now might be the L.A. Chargers. I almost said San Diego.
By the way, I knew that was going through your head right there, too. It's going to take a while.
It's like they really should be in San Diego. But anyway, they're here.
Yes.
They're playing good football.
They are.
And,
last night was without Melvin Gordon, without Eckler, without Keenan Allen, too.
And but Phillip, he's 37. He's slinging that rock. That country boy, I love him, man. I love his feistiness. I love everything about him. He can't run from here to there in 20 seconds, man. He is like, I don't know if in the prime, if Dan Marino or him are the slowest, but they both can throw the football.
Well, it's interesting, Rod Woodson, you mentioned Marino, because Mahomes could be the youngest MVP since Marino's MVP season.
Yes. The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.